All right. Welcome to the Saturday Santos show, the show where we just have awesome guests and awesome convos. This week's guest, Sam Presley.
How's it going, everybody?
Dude, thank you so much for coming by.
Oh, thanks for having me. I watch your shows, a few of them now. So
Yeah?
it's pretty cool to be here.
Dude,
on the set.
I appreciate it. You leave some really nice comments.
I try.
Very nice, but also a little critical. I love it.
You know, you gotta give the good and the bad. Otherwise, you're not
Absolutely.
giving the whole story.
Nah, man, I'm with you. So you've been getting into video more and more.
Yes. Between creating my own content and kind of working for professionals around Atlanta.
It looks like you've been. Is it photography that's your focus?
Right now, yeah, but it's also I've also made travel videos and stuff like that, and like those those cliche like look at where I went and what I saw and all that.
Sure.
But like I like to put in like niche history and stuff like that too, that like a lot of folks don't really get into in your regular tours and stuff. So I like to do that, but that's really expensive. So we're doing photography also for a while.
Sure. So I mean, I see you on TikTok as well.
Yeah.
So, is your travel stuff on that and YouTube, or where do you house all that stuff?
The travel stuff is mostly on YouTube and my website, which is alorastudios.com.
There you go.
Got to plug everywhere,
Absolutely.
And I put it on Facebook too, and I'm just kind of putting it everywhere because I mean, a following is a following, and eventually, you'll grow it wherever you grow it.
Right.
Oh, you're getting tangled up there, buddy.
Are we good? All right. Okay. So what got you into doing video? Because I remember you reaching out a while back asking me how to get into it.
Yeah. Well, we had the video production stuff in high school, back at Sonorville High School.
Yeah.
I got into that my senior year, and it was great. It was it was a whole lot better, in my opinion, at the time at least, than the experience I was getting from being in band. So it was kind of like an escape, sort of, because there was a bunch of turmoil whenever we had our switching directors. It's kind of been a rolling in and out since.
Really?
Yeah, it's been kind of an ordeal. I don't know. It's
I didn't
pretty
know
cool
that.
though. Yeah.
I only knew that when Mr. Chain came by, and we had a convo, and I hadn't realized that whenever he left, to your point, it kept on revolving a little bit.
Yeah, because we had, and it wasn't just the high school that was having problems. It was the middle school too, because, and that happened before Sonorville High School even started. They were having middle school band directors rotating, and
sure.
So I don't know really where they've landed on that. I hear that the guy that's there now is pretty good though. So,
oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were in band, and then you decided to make your focus more video?
I did. Yep. I don't know. I just became disenchanted with playing music like that. I started in 8th grade, because that's how we met. You were a senior and
That's
I was
right.
in 8th grade.
That's
so
right.
like I felt like maybe 4 years was about where I would start to get burnout on it.
Gotcha.
And being the drum major didn't help because it made my whole life band,
You were the drum major. I didn't know that.
2 years, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really fun. Don't get me wrong. It was a wonderful experience, but God, it was draining. It took a lot out of me.
Of course. To your point, making it your lifer.
Right, exactly.
For the fall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I was just looking for some change, and I was like, I like video stuff. I never released anything that I made, but I made videos like from the time that I was like 12.
Really?
Yeah, like I would make music videos. I would film stuff like with my siblings and put it to music and stuff like that.
No way.
Yeah, Windows Movie Maker all the way.
Hey, dude, you get a start where you can.
Right. Yeah.
I know all about that, man.
So
That's wild. So, I mean, when you graduated high school, did you go to school for video?
No, I didn't go to college really my first
Gotcha.
year after. There was a girl, and you know how that be.
I know how that is. Absolutely.
So-
I mean, I didn't even go to school for video myself. I went for audio.
Yeah. Oh, did you now? I didn't know that. I didn't. I
Yeah.
know you went to the Art Institute though, right?
Yeah. She actually went for video, but I went for audio. And in the middle of that, like ever since I started, I always try to get gigs, try to get work, try to get internships, but making sure that they all pay. And one thing that I found out is that you can be an audio professional and get work, but unless you know people, you're not going to get the work.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to get a step in.
Yeah.
But what was really easy was to, at the time I bought a Black Magic.
Mm-hmm.
First it was a Canon T3i or whatever, but then it was the Black Magic 2K, you know. And because I had that and my audio gear and a few lenses, I ended up getting way more work through video.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I ended up meeting a few people and everything like that. It's all who you know
It
and
is. Mm-hmm.
who you're willing to help.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for sure.
It can be risky. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about yourself? Did you do something like that with your work?
Something like
Well, like going out there and getting gigs, meeting people. How did you get the connections that you have now?
oh goodness. Well, I have to give credit where credit's due. At KSU, there's a program called the Music and Entertainment Business. It's a certification program. I think they're into a minor and possibly a major here soon at the school. I'm done with the program, so I don't know anymore. But
I got you.
But the guy who founded it, Joel A. Katz, was or is, I guess, the lawyer for like Beyonce and was for the Jackson Estate for a while. And
Really?
has all kinds of big name clients, and he's in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys that's the director of the program, knows him,
Okay.
Joel wanted to create this kind of program to help give musicians, but not just musicians, everybody around, because it's not just the music industry is their main focus, which wasn't great for my video, I have to admit, but yeah.
Well, that's a tricky business too, because it was the same at the Art Institute,
Right.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, but if you know the music industry, you know that it's kind of on the decline.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
it's hard to make it where you can make a living in it.
Yeah, well, it's saturated market, and I mean, it's entertainment is becoming a saturated market because consumer products are so much easier. I mean,
Sure.
everybody's got a camera and a microphone set up in their pocket right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's getting harder and harder, of course.
Sure.
But,
But that's where I commend you for doing your own content, man. I mean, to me, I was doing something similar with. Is there anything she can get? I mean, I would hate for her to bite stuff.
It's just my camera stuff in here.
I can put it in my bedroom real quick if you want.
I'll just zip this and
Get out of the way.
good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
But my guy Jim, I had a friend who I met through one of these gigs doing some short films.
Mm-hmm.
He is the guy who ended up in working with him, helped me land the gig I have now. And it's funny, we were talking about it and everything, but he was saying the same thing, is that everyone has these 4K cameras.
Yeah.
And the sound's actually not that bad.
It's not. I mean, and there's really not it's not that hard to upgrade your sound either. Like you really just have to.
Sure.
There's just a little adapter, and then you can put professional grade microphones with an auxiliary.
Absolutely.
So why would you not?
Yeah.
Why would you not?
Yeah, if you're educated just enough or do some research, you'll be able to pull off a pretty decent production.
Oh yeah.
But I think what makes the difference is, to your point, making the content.
Right.
Because if everyone has the stuff to do it, not everyone's going to go out and do it.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
That's interesting stuff. So, I mean, what's your focus right now?
I'm creating my own content. That's what I really like to do it. It's based on my photography right now, which is my release. It's therapeutic to me. It's
good.
part of my personality at this point.
Yeah.
That's what I like doing. So I'm going to keep on making it until it seems insane to continue going. If it doesn't make something after a few years and it gets to be that I'm doing other things, and maybe I'll stop. But if there's any way for me to keep on doing that and maybe even make money doing that too, that would. Oof.
Absolutely.
Gosh,
You've been getting
that would
any
be
gigs
great.
that way for photography?
No, but I am using it as a portfolio. And actually, that's why I started doing TikTok in the first place. Is I had an interview for a videographer gig, and he was like, "Well, where's your TikTok portfolio?" And I kind of aged a little bit,
Really?
and my hair turned white, and I was like, "A what?"
This guy asked for a TikTok portfolio.
He did, yeah. Because it's the videography job is a job
Sure.
for making videos for social media and stuff like that. And TikTok is a huge social media, especially for like video type stuff. It's huge right now.
It is. And I mean, to be honest, I was in the same way because I was a little apprehensive. I always am of new platforms because you don't know how it's going to blow up, or if it will, what kind of opportunities will be there. But
Or
I mean,
if it's going to have 5 minutes of fame like Vine.
right. But people love Vine,
Oh,
and
I
now
know. I missed Vine.
me too. But now people are loving TikTok. That's why I started putting these clips on there just for fun.
Yeah.
And people watch them. People like them. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. what I don't like about it is that, to your point, it's not 7 seconds.
Yeah, I know it's not.
I love
so
that
much
format.
about the like. It just you can't even make it. It's minimum 15 seconds. So like you
Yeah.
can't. There. Oh man, the comedy, the punchlines that
Yeah.
came from that 7 seconds. Was
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
It was cool. It was cool to see how like Thomas Sanders, the guy that did
Oh,
the
yeah.
story time stuff. Oh
Right.
my god, I used to love his stuff.
Dude, he got super popular
He
super
did.
quick.
I know, yeah. I think he does TikTok now.
He
Just
does. That
go
and
figure, right?
some
and probably YouTube too.
Some
right?
YouTube stuff. These
Yeah.
guys are diversifying pretty easily, but I haven't been able to keep up with people who are famous on TikTok.
Nah, well, there's so many of them, and it just happens. Like, do y'all remember Nikki Pratt?
Yeah.
She had a video go viral on TikTok.
No way.
Yeah, she's making shout out.
Right.
She makes like do you know the Repo musical?
Yeah.
She makes like little like things, little vials and cool little potion looking things that kind of resemble that vibe or whatever, and she sells them on Etsy.
That's awesome.
She made a little video and it went viral.
That's great.
Right?
Whoa. That and Caden Pagel.
Yeah.
So we work with her, and she's a video editor now and doing some cinematography. But she's almost got 100,000 followers on TikTok, dude.
Man, that's crazy.
It's nuts. And I remember when she didn't want to do it.
Wow.
She's like, should I do it? I'm like, listen, just do one thing a week. In a year, you'll be happy you did it.
Yeah.
And lo and behold.
Right? See, that's what I'm hoping is going to happen with the YouTube page. It's just, it's
Sure.
so much harder because YouTube is so much more established than TikTok.
It is. But I mean, I think if you're smart and you diversify and make different kinds of content in different places, I think that'll only benefit you as a brand.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Because if one of them hit,
Right.
then the other ones will reciprocate in one way or another.
Right,
I mean,
if it's not the videos or the photography, maybe it'll be the podcast.
You never know, yeah. And everyone has a fucking podcast now.
COVID kind of helped that along, didn't they? Everybody's sitting at home with all their equipment and nothing to do.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, you said you had 2.
Well, I'm trying to start 2.
Okay. Why 2 and not just 1? Are they different kinds of podcasts?
They're 2 different podcasts, yeah. I have one of them that I'm trying to start with a couple buddies of mine. They're the minds behind it, and I'm more of the technical side. I'm doing the
Okay.
I'm the ones who taught them what microphones they need to buy because we're
Sure.
doing it, via Zoom and all that stuff.
Oh, right.
Because they're in different states. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So it's about city planning and all of the like politics, and I love politics and all of the like concepts behind city planning, like trains and transportation, public transportation, walkability, and what that
Gotcha.
means for a city. It's really boring stuff, honestly, but
But that
it's
interests
kind
you,
of
huh?
it is really cool because I look at it from a point of view of my photography experience. So I'm thinking walkability is something that's super important to me, even though I don't realize it, because what I'm looking at, walkability talks about it's the ease of walking in a city, but it's also the beauty of walking in a city.
Gotcha.
So like it's not just about the safety or how big the sidewalks are. That's part of it, but it's also about what it looks like. Are there trees? Is it pretty? Do you want to walk down the street?
Huh.
So like it connects right back to what I like to do, and one of my favorite things to do is go on photo walks all the time
Right.
in the cities because you get the coolest angles on the buildings and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
New things to discover as
right,
well.
right. And travel and culture, I get to, since they're really on the technical side of the cities, I get to put my input, from being able to travel abroad and seeing cities like Milan. I got to talk about the trains in Milan, the subway system, whenever we talked about trains.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so like stuff like that, it just connects it right back in. So it's cool because I get to draw from a little bit different of an experience than what they have on it.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a lot of video games.
Yeah?
Because the whole thing with like open world games.
Well, Cityscapes is where we got the idea, actually.
Is that right? Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just, I imagine there's a design to it. I never knew. I mean, it makes sense now, city planning and having to plan out just the way your town's layout is.
Oh yeah.
That's a whole thing.
And how your town spends its money too. That's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
what gets discussed as well.
Oh my God. It's like Sim City, man.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, what's the other podcast about?
The other podcast is with a friend, Jesse Priest. We met in Italy, and it's about languages.
Okay.
He actually lives in Mexico now, so it's another one that I had. I'm the
Wow.
technical guy. I see. I'm telling you, it's COVID.
Yeah.
All my friends are scattered, so
That's wild, man.
one of the things we can do is podcast together.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, it's about languages, and it's really just back in January we started having a conversation about languages because we're both interested. He speaks a lot of language. I don't even know how many, 5, 6, something like that.
Damn.
He's learning new ones all the time. Like
crazy.
right? Like English, Spanish, Italian. I know he's doing Japanese now. Like
Oh my word.
yeah, so he's crazy with the languages. But we started a conversation where he was telling me about linguistics and why things are, because that's my thing. Why?
Yeah.
Why is it?
Sure.
So he was telling me like why concepts of linguistics were like this, and why like this is why these folks say it this way. And I thought it was so cool, and I was like, dude, we got to do something with this because people love languages. Like linguists love like talking about languages. I've joined
Sure.
countless Facebook groups where we're just sharing memes all day
That's
of
wild.
puns and stuff like
different
that. Yeah, in
languages.
different languages and stuff. So why wouldn't we share a conversation? Because
Yeah.
you're just sharing knowledge. He's teaching me, but I'm teaching him because I'll bring in like things that I know about audio that like actually producing audio and stuff like that.
Right,
like,
right.
There's I don't remember the linguistic part of it because that's not me, but plosives, like on the sound on the microphone.
Sure, sure.
The name for that is also really similar to the name for that in linguistics, like the P sound and the B sound, and whenever your lips come together and make that sound.
Yeah.
It's something similar to that. And whenever he told me like that's what it was, I was like, oh my god, that sounds like this concept in audio production.
Yeah, yeah. It's all related.
Right. It's all related.
Damn, man. Yeah. What I love about language, and one thing that is constantly being used and we really don't even think about, is colloquial idioms. You know,
Oh yeah.
like I can't think of an example. It's just something that people say that wouldn't translate in other customs,
Oh, yeah.
cultures, or even languages because it doesn't make sense. But here, especially in America, why can't I think of one? We have so many.
You literally speak in them. Like
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I've made quite a few, again, because of COVID, everybody talks online nowadays instead of going out. Like, so I've made some friends who are foreign because that's who I vibe with most, I guess.
Really?
I guess. Those are all people who like to either go live abroad or who
Yeah.
are from abroad who came here.
Wow.
I don't.
That's interesting.
But I talk to this Italian girl a lot, and like I swear half of the conversation that we have sometimes is just like, and what does that mean? Like I know what you said, but it doesn't make any sense to me.
Right, right. Oh man. So where do you meet all these people?
Dating apps and stuff like that.
Is that right?
Honestly, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's on them right now anyway.
That is true. I tried to get on one a while back just to see what was it all about.
Yeah,
And
it's still
they're-
crap.
Dude, they're like games.
Yeah, you can do a lot of fun stuff on there.
It's insane, like the way it reacts and the way, you swipe, or
Right.
every action has like an instant reaction.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go play a game on the phone, a mobile game, and they act the same way. They have the
Oh,
same
yeah.
sounds.
Oh yeah.
It's nuts, man.
Well, that you're just getting it's probably akin to getting all your dopamine and serotonin, all
Sure.
the chemicals in your brain firing from games. They probably just put that concept into the dating apps so that way you'll keep doing it.
Yeah, and pay for it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's another thing too, man. They ain't cheap.
Not if you. There's free versions of most of them, but like
But you
also
can't
have
talk
to.
with
No, you
people.
have to like sit through like 30-minute advertisements to send a message or something,
It's
and
insane,
it's yeah,
man.
like, and they're not inexpensive either. Like
Mm-hmm.
one of them wanted me to pay $10 a week, and I was like, look,
Whoa,
that is not worth. I was like, we're just gonna delete you right now. You're asking for too much.
that is a lot.
That is too much,
Yeah. Whoa.
right?
Yeah.
It was one of those niche ones though. It was LGBTQ like specific.
Oh.
So like I kind of understand, but also $40 a month? Like I don't pay that
pretty
much for
expensive.
like Netflix, Hulu, and Disney Plus combined. Like
yeah. I mean, how often? And how often do you date too? Like, how often does it really translate to something?
I don't really meet a whole lot of people that I have more than a couple conversations with. Now, the
Yeah.
conversations sometimes are really dope, and we never speak again, and that just is what it is. But like, I $40.
To have
That's
those
a lot to have those
conversations.
conversations. That's just. I'd rather not.
Wow. Wow. Wild, man.
Right?
So you're doing a lot of live events. Is that right? Because every time I see you in your pictures, it looks like you're in it's like a game.
Yes, that would be the Atlanta United 2, which is the USL team instead of the MLS team, the soccer team.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm doing camera operation for that.
Whoa.
Yeah. This is actually my second year doing that one.
Really?
Yep.
And how'd you get that gig?
Through the MEBUS program, because Atlanta United 2 actually uses Fifth Third Stadium which is KSU's stadium.
I see. Through
Yeah.
school. Okay.
So they have like a contract or whatever. I don't know really how it works. That's way above my pay grade. but I part of the MEBUS program is you have 3 main core semesters where you take these MEBUS core classes, and the requirement for those classes, other than all the classwork, is you have to have an internship. Now, for that, they help you get internships. They know people, and they're like, these folks want an intern for this semester. You just have to go interview for it.
I see.
And whatever. And, there's not a whole lot of interaction with the video guys in Atlanta and KSU yet. So they kind of just place the video guys or video folks, where they can, and where it happened to be is our broadcasting department.
Yeah.
And those are the folks who they pull freelancers from every year for the Atlanta United 2, because they work for the stadium and stuff. I also did KSU's like a marketing camera for football games and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So anytime they do like those little games that they do where they put you in the blow up thing with the fan and all the money and you grab the cash.
Right.
The person with the camera on their shoulder, that was me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you touched on a thing where you're saying with KSU, a lot of Atlanta video folks aren't really reaching out. Or
Yeah,
not really
I don't
working
know.
in tandem. It was the same way with the Art Institute.
Yeah, I don't know if like what the deal really. It's that it's a closed knit network,
It
and
is.
if you're not in it, you're not in it, and
Yeah.
for some reason, KSU just doesn't seem to quite be in it. I don't know why.
Yeah, even with people that have those resources, they could really use the help.
Yeah, honestly.
I know that, like, ever since I've met all these people over the years of doing it, it feels like it is small, the community. But I guess I can understand the way in being a little blurry.
Oh yeah.
Because the only way I got in was just by going out and helping people. I think I only ever did one gig that was free. And after that, I ended up getting paid for everything else.
Wow, man. I don't think I have been offered opportunities through KSU or whatever to go and do events, but they were always more music industry related and less, sports broadcasting or movie production, which is what I want to work on.
Sure.
Like, it's not that I'm opposed to doing music videos, but like for video specifically, that's kind of it. Maybe you get some editing, maybe for some social media stuff, but like they're mainly focused on the music, which is good. It's the music industry. You kind of should be.
Yeah.
But it just narrowed my options a lot.
Yeah. I can dig that, man. Well, I mean, are you open to doing some short films?
I'm open to doing anything, man.
Yeah?
I love the video industry, and I really want to finally start doing that.
Sure.
Instead of having to work at a restaurant too.
No, I dig it, man. I
Yeah.
dig it. I had to do the same thing working at a Steak and Shake when I was living in Ackworth, and then I moved to Sandy Springs when I started school. I was starting at school while I was in Ackworth, but I moved like right behind the school to take it a little more seriously and do internships and everything. But I had a moment where I needed a job. I had no money going in, and we lived in an apartment right behind the school, so it was pretty pricey. And then I remember applying to a Steak and Shake down the road, and I was like, well, I've already worked there. I already have something. And I remember going there, dude, and they were about to offer me the job. Like, it was not a problem.
Right.
And I told myself, like, dude, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm done. And so Katie was a little upset. But you hustle enough, man. There's opportunity out there. And then I think in a week or two, I ended up getting my first internship editing for like $10 an hour or whatever.
Nice.
Audio.
Nice.
It was for audiobooks.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was fun.
It was a weird experience because like I had already known how to do audio, both editing and engineering, but I don't know if the Art Institute had a problem with their reputation. I think they had a reputation of sending out individuals that, say they were hungry, and then when they get there, they just want everything served to them. They don't want to work. So whenever I started, they kept on giving me these tutorials. I'm like, guys, I can edit. And they're like, well, okay, just shadow this engineer one more day, and we'll get you editing and we'll get you recording. So I shadowed this engineer, and there was who I thought at the time was a British woman going into the booth. And he started up the session, and he started recording, and she started reading, and I'm just shadowing, right? So he has the book in front of him, and he has Pro Tools, and it's recording, and she's in there. We can't see her in the booth. And, but we can talk with her. And she starts reading this book, and it's like a very corny romance novel, right? But it gets dirty as shit, dude. And she gets into it like a good actress should.
Well.
And I'm just sitting there really confused, and it was uncomfortable because even the engineer knew that she was giving it her all, dude. Oh, my word. But then afterwards, we ended up staying there for 4 hours to read the rest of the book. And by the end of it, I was almost in tears, dude, because the story was so gripping. After the opening sex scene, after that, it was just like this drama. And I was like, holy shit.
That's hilarious.
It was a weird one. But they're still doing stuff, man. They bought out Magic Lantern. And it was a big post studio. That's all they did was post. And the owner at Listen Up Audiobooks, Chris Fogg, ended up buying that place out, and they've been working with like The Walking Dead and shit like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I haven't seen them in a while. But yeah, it's tough to get gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that goes back to what I was talking about doing this short film. I'm doing one next month.
Oh.
So if you're interested, it's going to be a pretty big team. I'm bringing in everyone. So I got a gaffer who I just mentioned, Jim Ross. He'll be doing gaffing. He has a huge grip truck, dude. And he's the reason I have the gig I have now. And then we have a guy who cleaned our studio kit, who I'm meeting after this.
Oh, okay. All right.
And he's bringing in our kit, and he'll be there DPing. So, I mean, it's going to be not long. It's like 3 days.
Okay.
It's Saturday, Sunday. And then the following Saturday, if you can help, I'd love to have you out, man. Because we'll be filming behind the scenes, the whole thing with these same cameras.
Okay.
So it'll all be like 4K, super nice and super milky.
Nice.
Katie will be doing photography for everything.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah. So we're making it a bigger production than we usually would.
Okay.
Or at least I am, because I know all these guys. And a friend of mine who was on the show too. He reached out to me saying, it's a little short film. And I kept saying, nah, man, let's ramp it up. Let's go crazy. I want makeup there, everything.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, if you need extra hands, I mean, it's going to depend on what day, because I do have a couple of Saturdays contracted with Atlanta United this month.
There you go.
Yeah,
okay, well, we'll get together.
September.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
No worries. That's cool, though, man. I'm happy for you, because I think I almost scared you. I was afraid I scared you off when you asked me about how to get into video.
Oh, so many years ago?
Well, yeah, because I was like, well, you really kind of got to know a little about everything.
That just meant I took your advice, and I went and I learned a little bit about everything.
That's great.
I took classes on audio because that's where I was struggling, and so
that's a big thing.
Yeah, if your audio's not good, people aren't going to want to listen.
Yeah. It's one of those things that people miss, but don't think they need.
Right.
Is a decent audio person or someone who understands.
Yeah. At least a little bit. At least.
I feel bad. I feel bad for all the people listening, because I'm still messing with this mixer. I love this thing, but I haven't had to deal with such consistent audio fine tuning in a few years
Oh yeah.
because I moved over and I'm a video director now. So I take audio into account, but never something like this where it's more long form. So there's always hiccups and shit. Like, God damn it. Well, damn, man.
Yeah.
So last time when we first met, it was in high school,
Yes.
and you went by a different name.
I did go by a different name.
Yeah. And now you go by Sam.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you open to talk about that?
Sure.
I mean, I'm just more curious about your journey, man. If you're up for sharing a little bit of it.
No, I mean, it had a whole lot to do, I feel like, with. So I did, in 2014, I did a study abroad program in Italy, which is actually where I met Jesse, the guy with the language podcast, and like half of my closest friends now. Something about being abroad just made me look at life. It just, because, I guess it's leaving everything you're in, I was in Italy, and I didn't speak the language. I went there to learn the language. So I knew how to say ciao, and I knew how to say Alfredo, which turns out is not actually really a thing that they do there.
Really?
It is, but it isn't. It's not called Alfredo. I learned this the other day, unless it's at one specific restaurant.
Really?
Yes, and it's done. We don't even do it right here, except for pretentious restaurants over in California. By this point, I'm sure. But you take the Parmesan cheese wheel and you take the hot pasta right out of the boiling water and set it on top of it and twirl it around, and that's what gets the cheese on it, and that's how you're supposed to serve it.
I see.
So if it's not done like that, it's not Alfredo.
So right now it's just a sauce.
Well, yeah, it's just a Parmesan
here
sauce.
in America.
Yeah,
right?
but they call it butter and Parmesan sauce or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, the biggest culture shock that I saw going there was, I said, "Can I have some Alfredo?" And they said, "Who?"
Oh, what?
Yeah, because it's a name.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
okay.
yeah, that was a bit like 2 days into the trip, and I was like, "Okay, yep, you're in another country, guy." So, but I was in another country. I was experiencing culture shock, and I was also missing home a lot. So I would take walks and stuff, and actually that's what got me into doing photography. Is I was taking pictures of all the architecture in the small Tuscan town of Montepulciano. Shout out. Gotta plug them where they can. Go there whenever Italy opens back up to Americans, y'all, because let me tell you, that place is the best.
I gotta check that out.
There's a torture museum, and if that doesn't tell you what you need to know about that place.
A torture museum.
A torture museum.
Oh my God.
Literally, like it's got medieval torture devices in there, and like it's even got like what are they called? Mannequins and
God.
Yeah, figures to show you how it worked.
So metal.
It was great. It was wonderful. I went a couple of times. I didn't go as many times as my friend Julian did. I think he went at least once a week, and we were there for 3 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a cool place though,
Okay.
But being there, I felt like I got a clearer image of who I was.
Oh,
I felt like I started to really understand how I felt, because I for those of you who don't know, I'm a trans man. I was not born looking as handsome, devilishly handsome as I am now.
That's right. I didn't want to say anything.
Well, I had a nice little glow up with second puberty, and that's if that right there should tell you exactly how much we definitely don't choose this. You remember first puberty, trying to go through another one in your 20s.
Oh man.
Yeah,
is that like an accurate representation of what you had to go through?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's exactly what I had to go through because part of my transition is just having testosterone in my body and at a more appropriate, in my opinion, amount, and in my doctor's opinion too. So it essentially like. I mean, that's what I do. Is every week I have a shot that I have to take, and I give it myself. So,
is that right? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been giving it to myself for like almost 8 months now.
Okay.
Stabbing yourself is not easy.
Wow.
Yeah, not easy at all.
And this is something you have to do permanently.
For at least 5 or so years, that kind of gets you to where your body. It's like not going to produce it itself, but it's just going to have gone through the puberty changes, essentially.
Right.
And I'll have the body hair, my facial hair, all that stuff. Everything that needs to change will change.
Right.
Wow. So, and I'm 3 years in now.
3 years in. Oh, whoa. That's a long con, man.
I know, man.
Yeah.
It's been a long journey, and
Yeah.
there's still more steps and stuff. Of course,
Is that
I do.
right?
Yes, I will be doing top surgery, and some people also elect for bottom surgery, but that is expensive and
I bet.
invasive.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And that's a no turning back moment as
oh
well.
yeah, oh yeah,
I can only imagine.
yeah. But top surgery, that's happening. That's
Yeah.
happening whenever there's funds.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, it's expensive.
I can only imagine, man. Especially with COVID too, because I
Oh
imagine that'd
yeah.
be an elective procedure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And insurances, of course, won't cover it.
Really?
Yeah, there's some of them that will. Blue Cross Blue Shield will, and I think there's a couple of other ones too. But I
Yeah.
mean, that's not what restaurants give your guy.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Damn, dude.
yeah,
Whoa. That is heavy.
yeah, it is what it is, though. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's
So
part of
if
the
you don't,
experience.
yeah, if you don't mind me asking, what made you go through from being coming to this mental clarity to then deciding to make the change from a physical form as well?
Well, I started socially. So I
I
came
see.
out. I came out in 2015, and I started having my friends call me Sam. And I
Okay.
cut my hair, and I started doing what's called binding, which is it's like a bra on steroids. Like it essentially flattens your chest. Like I don't know if you guys can like you see
Yeah.
the outline on it down here, but like it I mean it flattens your chest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So and after I did that for a while, I was like, you know, this like I feel a whole lot more comfortable like
Okay.
being out in the world when I look like this. Like I feel a
Yeah.
whole lot more confident. I feel like I actually look like I want to.
Yeah, yeah.
Like because let me tell you, like not growing a beard when all the guys were growing beards in high school, that was not it. I wasn't there for it. I was like, why is it like I get why it's not because I'm not supposed to, but
Uh-huh.
like I want it so bad. I want a beard.
You felt like this in high school?
I did. Oh yeah.
Really?
I didn't have language for it, but I knew I was trans whenever I was like 6 or something, 7.
That young?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know,
Wow.
you start to grow up and you're a little girl that hangs out with all the guys and they
Sure.
call you a tomboy and you hate dresses and you hate
Sure.
pink and
Uh-huh.
you don't like having your bows in your hair and stuff and
Sure.
it's like, well, you know, maybe you're just a little androgynous, maybe not, you know.
Uh-huh.
And turns out not.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on that, man. Was it a tough no pun intended transition to then make it so who knows you by one name then calls you another?
Yeah,
Yeah?
definitely. It's not been the easiest, and
I
I,
see.
I get that it's hard sometimes when you've known someone by, you know, a name for 10, 15, 20 years, you know,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
mean, at that point in my life, most of the people I had known were folks that I had known from my hometown,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
So it was a little hard at first, and for a while there were still people who would, you know, call me by my old name if they
Yeah.
saw me in Walmart back in the hometown or whatever, but
Oh,
tried to avoid that like the plague.
right, right. Understandable.
Yeah, but uh, I don't it wasn't that hard with the people I surrounded myself with daily.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Because I tried to cultivate like a friend group of open-minded, you know, like-minded people
Sure.
that, you know, were allies at least,
Right,
or
right.
most of them, quite frankly, are part of the LGBTQ community.
Is that right? Okay.
That's true. Doesn't necessarily mean they can't be transphobic because
Really?
oh yeah, there's in the community there's transphobia, there's racism, there's even internalized homophobia. It's
Really?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm for everyone being happy. That's my thing. But besides that, I really don't know the inner mechanisms of all these groups and how they behave
yeah.
internally. That surprises me that
Oh,
you know
yeah.
there would be that kind of conflict.
Well, if you're interested, there's actually a couple of documentaries that you can watch on Netflix. One of them that I think would be very pertinent is The Life of Marsha P. Johnson,
Okay.
who is the transgender woman of color who started the revolution and the Stonewall riots and all that stuff. She's the one who's given credit for it.
Is that right? Okay.
She's considered the mama of the revolution.
Really?
Yeah, like
Oh, that's
I
cute.
love the crap out of her. She was actually murdered in New York, and
God.
her case is a cold case
Is it really?
because it was likely the police.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm learning about this all for the first time. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's old or new, but
I mean,
that's wild.
It's the beginning of the LGBTQ movement.
So
So essentially, the gays weren't allowed to be, out and open.
Sure.
Back in like the 60s and
60s,
70s.
70s, yeah. Harvey Milk.
Yeah, exactly.
Big guy. Yeah.
And so they would try to, they'd want to go out into bars and they'd want to drink and stuff, but like
Sure.
they wouldn't be able to because it'd be like in the Jim Crow era,
Sure.
where they wouldn't serve people of color.
Sure.
They don't serve gay people. So the mafia, believe it or not, gave the LGBTQ community kind of a refuge because
Really?
they're the ones who would serve alcohol to, well, anybody, but because they just make money, and it's a great,
Everybody's money's good here.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Why not? And
yeah. Absolutely.
an underground bar that sounds like exactly what the mafia should be doing.
Sure,
to be honest.
sure.
And so they butted heads with cops, and it just kind of all convalesced and
Culminated.
that's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
I was gonna say cultivate.
That's what I was trying to say too, and I was like, it's not it though. It's just
Close.
But yeah, and eventually, like, it turned into an all-out riot at Stonewall Bar. I think it was an actual bar.
Okay.
And somebody threw a brick, and it turned into a full-on.
No way.
Yep.
And that's where this in your mind started.
Yeah, that's where the movement to get equality kind of started.
I see.
So it's kind of like what's happening now. There was a big old riot and some deaths and some injuries, and that just was the tipping point.
Sure,
where people were like, no, we're gonna fight back now.
Yeah. It's wild, man. Hearing all the coverage on, from everyone.
Oh gosh.
I like to hear it from all sides.
Right.
I think it's all hilarious.
It's wild how different the stories for the same events can be.
Yeah, man. I mean, and to be honest, sometimes I get both sides.
I mean, yeah.
I think both of them have,
a grain of salt. Just a
some
little bit of truth.
Sure.
There's always one side, and then the truth is somewhere in the middle.
I think so. Or like how people interpret things, with the riots, and some people say, well, we're fed up, and we demand equality, and this is what it takes to get it. This is what it takes. And then the people on the other side are saying, well, you're kind of doing things that is hurting your movement by taking local businesses and trashing them up.
Oh yeah.
And I can kind of agree with both.
I can see both sides too.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not like that's a new thing either. They were doing the exact same thing to MLK during his movements and stuff. So. I mean, there were probably people during his movements as well who were, adding a little fuel to the fire.
Sure.
So it just.
I mean, you could say
it's not black and white is the problem.
Right, I agree. I mean, you could say the same thing about back in the early days of the country with the Boston Tea Party.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of local businesses that got fucked.
Well, that was millions of because it wasn't like tea packets. It was like blocks
barrels
of
and
tea.
shit, yeah.
Well, yeah, so like compressed blocks that would last months and months and months. So that was literally millions of contemporary dollars worth of tea.
Yeah.
Imagine what that would be.
I think if they had Facebook and Twitter, it would be quite.
Oh yeah,
quite the story. I would love to see that documentation, man.
That would have been great.
I wonder if history books are gonna have like Trump's tweets.
Oh yeah.
Embedded in there.
Were they gonna have to? He almost started World War III with them. You can't.
It's gonna be wild.
He made it so you can't avoid it.
Sure.
Obama still could have avoided the whole Twitter because he never really did anything super controversial on there. He kind of kept his press briefings for all the things he wanted to say. But
yeah, I don't even think it was him personally that ran his Twitter. It was a team.
Yeah, which is probably the smarter way to do that, so you don't accidentally. Because, sometimes you accidentally say something really stupid.
Well, I mean, what's funny is that Trump admitted that. He's like, sometimes I regret what I tweet. Like, no, I don't see that. What are you talking about,
What
buddy?
do you mean regret? No regrets.
That's right. And no regrets, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, if I may be so bold, with your lifestyle now, do you have regrets in the past 3 years that if you were to go back, you would change things?
No, not really.
No, that's okay.
Nah.
That's great.
I feel like now, that's not to say that nothing horrible has happened that I would prefer not to have happened.
Sure, sure.
But it brought me where I am now, and I think I'm finally on a straight and narrow path
That's good.
to where I want to be.
That's
So
good. That's good.
what would you trade that for? You know what I mean?
It's worth everything, man.
Right.
Absolutely. And yeah. I think if people who, I mean, to be honest, like me, who don't understand and just want to learn, to be able to think of it like that as more instead of a physical transition or transformation, take it a little more to heart. Like right now, I think I'm going through my own transitional period, you know, from whether it be personal or career wise.
Right.
I think if people look at that, even just as an example of that kind of transitional period, people would be a little more sympathetic.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Folks tend to, the first reaction to the unknown is to be scared of it.
Sure.
So if you don't understand something, the first reaction is to fear it, and when you fear it, you recoil from it, which means that you're going to be a little grossed out by it too.
Sure.
So I can understand where it comes from. It just comes from a fear of not understanding what's going on.
Right.
And nobody likes to be in the dark.
I agree.
Nobody likes to be in a fog. Nobody likes to not be able to tell what's going on.
Sure.
So I get it. I get the frustration.
Yeah.
I just don't get so hung up on it if it's someone
Sure.
else's life.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
That's my only advice to the folks out there who may be having a little trouble sitting with, you know, the
Yeah.
idea of trans people or
Sure.
LGBTQ people, or even the ideas of a movement happening that you don't necessarily agree with.
Sure. Yeah, man. I mean, to your point, it's not black and white. It's usually in the middle. It's gray.
Exactly.
And I think understanding from all sides is the best way for everything to go back to
Oh, yeah.
a nice and more normal, especially after this year.
Yeah, not sure what normal is ever going to look like again, but
It's going to be interesting.
yeah.
But we can fill a whole other podcast with that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I know we're short on time, man, but I wanted to thank you again for coming by.
Oh, thanks for having
And,
me.
dude, if you're down, I'd love to have you over again.
Sure.
When we're not a little pressed on time, and
Yeah.
then dive deeper into all these topics.
Yeah, sure.
Hell
Maybe
yeah.
next time I'll bring some of my pictures and we can talk about some backstories.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for coming by, Sam. Do you want to plug your website or?
Sure.
Your
it's,
channel?
It's Alora Studios. It's Alora Studios everywhere on Facebook. I don't do Twitter because that's just dangerous.
Don't I know it?
It's Shots by Sam on TikTok. Alora Studios on YouTube. AloraStudios.com has all the links for everything. If you like my pictures, my prints are for purchase too.
There you go.
You can find those on my website.
Always pushing them prints, man.
Oh my God, I'm hoping they'll sell one day.
They will, man. You guys got to push them.
Right.
Time and pressure. That's all it takes. All right. Thanks so much for stopping by, man.
Thanks.
And I hope you guys really enjoyed the show. Be sure to tune in every week for another episode of the Saturday Santos Show. We will have some awesome guests and awesome combos. Thank you so much, guys. Peace.